Hello, it's Professor Asma Parveen from Department of Psychology, Aligarh Muslim University. In previous lecture, I was discussed about the study design based on the nature of investigation, and I have completed one study design, that is experimental study design. Now I will continue this classification, that is study design based on the nature of investigation, and in this categorization the second design is quasi experimental study design. It is a type of study that is similar to experimental designs, but they don't involve randomly assigning participants to different groups. Instead, participants are put into groups based on their existing characteristics or conditions. This is used when it is not possible or ethical to randomly assign participants. Quasi research designs can still give us valuable information and insights, but they have certain limitations compared to true experimental designs. We need to be careful when interpreting the results of quasi research studies and consider other explanations for any effects we observe. For example, if we want to study the effects of smoking on lung cancer, it would not be ethical to randomly make some people smoke and others not smoke. So instead, we compare people who already smoke to those who don't and look at the differences in lung cancer rates between the two groups. This kind of study can tell us important things about the relationship between smoking and lung cancer, but it cannot prove that smoking actually causes lung cancer. In another example, researchers might want to investigate how a new teaching method affects student performance. Instead of randomly assigning students to different teaching methods, they compare the performance of students who are already exposed to the new method with those who are not. By doing this, they can gather data on how effective the new teaching method is. But they can't definitely say that the method caused the differences in the performance. While quasi research designs provide valuable insights, they do have certain limitations, and one limitation is that they cannot establish cause and effect relationships. Since participants are not randomly assigned to groups, they may be other factors influencing the outcomes that are not accounted for. Additionally, the groups being compared may not be truly comparable, leading to biased results. Therefore, it is important to consider alternative explanations for any observed effects and not solely rely on the findings of quasi research studies. Despite these limitations, quasi research designs are often used when true experimental designs are not feasible or ethical. They allow researchers to gather important information and make informed decisions even if they cannot establish causality. By carefully analyzing the results and considering other factors, researchers can still gain valuable insights from the quasi research studies. Quasi research designs, while useful in certain situations, they have certain limitations that we should also consider. Unlike true experimental designs, where researchers can randomly assign participants to different groups, quasi research designs do not have this random assignment of participants to different groups. As a result, there may be other variables at play that could potentially influence the outcomes. Researchers must carefully consider these potential factors and make an effort to account for them when analyzing the data. This requires a thorough examination of the data to ensure accurate and reliable conclusions can be drawn. One way researchers address the issue of non random assignment in quasi research design is by using statistical techniques such as regression analysis. Regression analysis allows researchers to statistically control for certain variables that may be influencing the results. By including these variables in the analysis, researchers can better isolate the effects of the independent variable being studied. However, it is important to consider that regression analysis cannot completely eliminate the potential influence of unmeasured variables. Therefore, caution must still be exercised when interpreting the results of quasi research design. Another challenge in quasi research design is the lack of control over the timing of the independent variable. In true experimental designs, researchers have control over when and how the independent variable is introduced. This allows for a more precise examination of cause and effect relationships. However, in quasi research designs, the timing of the independent variable is often determined by external factors or natural occurrences, and this can make it difficult to establish a clear causal relationship between the independent variable and the observed outcomes. Quasi study designs are a valuable tool for gaining important information and expanding our understanding of the world. While they do have certain limitations, but these designs are often very useful when conducting real experiments is not feasible or ethical. Instead, researchers examine existing groups or conditions to uncover insights and make informed decisions based on the evidence at hand. This approach proves particularly beneficial in fields such as education, healthcare, and social sciences, where conducting actual experiments may present challenges. So, by employing quasi research designs, researchers can still contribute to knowledge and address complex issues within these domains. The third category is exploratory study design. These designs or these studies are also known as formulative research studies. They play a crucial role in the early stages of investigation. These studies are designed to formulate a problem for further exploration or develop a working hypothesis. Unlike other types of research, exploratory studies focus on uncovering new ideas or insights. They are useful when researchers are uncertain about the problems they may encounter during their study. Through this type of research, researchers can develop and clarify important concepts, establish priorities, and create definitions that will enhance their final research design. Despite its significance, exploratory study designs often receives less attention than other types of studies. This is because it requires more time. It is not representative of the entire population. It is subjective and lacks a systematic design. However, these limitations do not diminish the importance of exploratory research. In fact, they highlight the need for flexibility in the study design. Researchers must be open to considering different aspects of the problem being studied and be willing to make changes to their research procedure in order to gather relevant data. One of the main reasons why exploratory research is necessary is to explore areas that are unclear or new. Researchers need to learn about and identify relevant areas, new challenges, and important variables that may impact their study. By conducting exploratory research, they can gain a deeper understanding of these factors and ensure that their final research design is comprehensive and well informed. Exploratory research is a method of study that involves delving into a specific topic with an open mind and a willingness to invest a significant amount of time. Its purpose is to gather as much information as possible about the subjects. This type of research is particularly useful when there is limited prior knowledge or insufficient existing research to adequately address the questions being investigated. By conducting exploratory research, researchers aim to uncover the purpose or problem of their study and ultimately find answers to their inquiries. It serves as a crucial starting point for further investigation and analysis. There are certain techniques used for exploratory study, and first one is when conducting this research on a topic with limited information, it can be challenging to gather data and choose subjects. However, there are various techniques that researchers can employ to overcome these obstacles. The two main methods for conducting research are primary and secondary, each offering different ways to collect data. While both qualitative and quantitative techniques exist, most researchers prefer qualitative methods due to their flexibility. Once researchers have a grasp of what qualitative research means, they can utilize different approaches to explore their chosen topic. One such approach is depth interviews, where researchers engage in unstructured conversations with individuals to obtain more detailed information. Another technique is participant observation, where researchers observe and study the actions of participants in a specific setting. Additionally, capturing group lifestyles through audio, video, or pictures can provide relevant insights for their study. Researchers may also conduct case studies delving deeper into specific conditions or events to gain a better understanding. Document analysis is another valuable method involving the examination of the documents to gather information. Lastly, expert interviews allow researchers to obtain important and detailed information from subject matter experts. Third category of study designs is descriptive study design. It is a method that used in various fields such as in social sciences, psychology, and market research. Its basic purpose is to provide a comprehensive understanding of a specific group or subject by describing and explaining its characteristics or behavior. Unlike other research methods that involve manipulating variables or testing hypotheses, descriptive research focuses on collecting data through observation, surveys, or interviews. This approach helps researchers to gain a deep insight into the topic they are studying. Through descriptive research design, researchers can gather information about how people think, act, and what they prefer. The objective of this type of research is not to prove or disprove theories, but rather to offer a detailed description of the subject matter. By carefully observing and collecting data, researchers are able to construct a clear and vivid picture of what they are studying, which ultimately enhances our understanding of it. So, we can say that descriptive research design serves as a powerful tool for exploring and documenting the intricacies of various phenomena. It enables researchers to understand the depth of human behavior, societal trends, and consumer preferences. By employing methods such as surveys, interviews, and direct observation, researchers can obtain valuable information that contribute to our knowledge and understanding of the processes. This approach is particularly useful when studying complex topics that require a deep understanding. Moreover, this descriptive research design plays a crucial role in providing a foundation for further investigation. The detailed descriptions and explanations obtained through this method serve as a starting point for future studies and hypothesis testing. By establishing a solid groundwork of knowledge, researchers can build upon existing findings and explore new avenues of inquiry. This iterative process of research contributes to the advancement of knowledge and the development of innovative solutions to real world problems. Descriptive research design is a valuable tool for researchers because it allows them to gather real world data by directly observing and interacting with people and groups. This approach ensures that the findings of the study are accurate and reliable as they are based on first hand experiences and actions. One method that is commonly used in descriptive research design is surveys and interviews. These tools enable researchers to collect information from a wide range of individuals, providing a comprehensive understanding of the topic. By asking specific questions or conducting structured interviews, researchers can have an understanding into the people's thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. This data helps paint a complete picture of the subject being studied. Observation is another crucial aspect of the descriptive research design. Researchers have the opportunity to observe people and groups in their natural environments and help them understand different aspects of the human behaviors, interactions between humans, and their characteristics. This type of information adds depth to the study and enhances our understanding of the subject matter. So, by utilizing surveys and interviews and observation, researchers can get the rich and diverse data that contributes to a comprehensive understanding. Descriptive research design provides a solid foundation for conducting studies that accurately reflect real world experiences and actions. Next category of design is correlational study design. A correlational study design is a type of scientific research that examines the connection between two or more variables. Unlike an experiment, which involves manipulating and controlling the variables, a correlational study focuses on observing and measuring them to determine if there is a relationship. This type of study is particularly useful when conducting experiments is not feasible or ethical, or when researchers want to investigate relationships that occur naturally in the real world. By utilizing correlational research, scientists can gain insights into the strength and direction of these relationships. However, it is important to note that correlational research cannot establish causation, meaning it cannot prove that one variable directly causes another. In a correlational study, researchers collect data on variables they are interested in and analyze it to determine if there is a relationship between them. They use statistical techniques to measure the strength and direction of this relationship. For example, if researchers are studying the relationship between sleep duration and academic performance, they might collect data on how many hours students sleep each night and their grades. By analyzing this data, they can determine if there is a correlation between sleep duration and academic performance. If they find a positive correlation, it means that as sleep duration increases, so does academic performance. On the other hand, a negative correlation would indicate that as sleep duration increases, academic performance decreases. Correlational research is often used in situations where conducting experiments would be impractical or unethical. For example, if researchers wanted to study the relationship between smoking and lung cancer, it would be unethical to assign some participants to smoke and others not to smoke. In this case, a correlational study could be conducted by collecting data on individuals' smoking habits and their incidence of lung cancer. By analyzing this data, researchers could determine if there is a correlation between smoking and lung cancer. While a correlation would suggest a relationship between these two variables, it would not provide definite proof that smoking causes lung cancer. One limitation of correlation research is that it cannot establish causation. Just because two variables are correlated, it does not mean that one variable causes the other. There may be other factors at play that are responsible for the observed relationship. For example, in the case of relationship between sleep duration and academic performance, it could be that students who sleep more also have better study habits or access to additional resources, which are the true factors driving their academic success. Correlational research can only identify associations between variables, not the underlying mechanism that explain these associations. Despite its limitations, correlation study design is valuable in many fields of study. It allows researchers to explore relationships between variables that may not be possible to manipulate in an experimental setting. Additionally, correlational studies can provide preliminary evidence for further research. If a strong correlation is found between two variables, it may warrant further investigation through experimental research to determine if there is a causal relationship. Correlational research also has practical applications such as in public health, where it can help identify risk factors for certain diseases or behaviors. Correlation is a term used to describe the connection between two things. This connection can be strong or weak, and it can be positive or negative. In some cases, there may not be any connection at all. When researchers study correlations, they look for three possible outcomes: a positive correlation, a negative correlation, or no correlation at all. To measure the strength of this correlation, they use a number called the correlation coefficient. This coefficient can range from -1, indicating a negative correlation, to +1, indicating a positive correlation. If the correlation coefficient is 0, it means that there is no correlation between the two variables being studied. A positive correlation occurs when both variables increase or decrease together. The closer the correlation coefficient is to +1, the stronger the connection is. On the other hand, a negative correlation happens when one variable increases while the other decreases, or vice versa. If the correlation coefficient is close to -1, it indicates a very strong negative correlation. Lastly, a no correlation means that the two variables being studied have nothing to do with each other. In this case, the correlation coefficient would be 0, indicating no correlation. By studying correlations, researchers can identify patterns and trends in data. For example, if there is a positive correlation between studying time and test scores, it suggests that the more time a student spends studying, the higher their test scores are likely to be. On the other hand, if there is a negative correlation between exercise and weight gain, it means that as exercise increases, weight gain decreases. Correlation also be used to predict further future outcomes. If there is a strong positive correlation between ice cream sales and temperature, businesses can anticipate an increase in ice cream sales during hot weather. Similarly, if there is a strong negative correlation between smoking and lung cancer rates, public health campaigns can focus on reducing smoking to lower the incidence of lung cancer. So, correlations provide valuable insights into the relationships between different variables. An understanding of correlations is important because it allows researchers to identify relationships between different variables, and by analyzing these correlation coefficients, they can determine the strength and direction of the correlation. This information can be then used in various fields such as psychology, economics, and sociology. It helps all the researchers to make predictions and draw conclusions based on the data they collect. Whether it's studying the impact of exercise on mental health or the relationship between income and education level, correlations provide insights into how different factors are related. So, the next time you hear about a correlation, remember that it represents a connection between two things, and its strength can vary from strong positive to strong negative, or even no connection at all. This is all for today. Thank you.